I could feel that it was like a change.
Yes, I'm trying
Stepping
to.
outside of your
Yeah,
comfort zone.
totally. Like washing my hair every, day or something. Like, yeah. How are you? Tell me all the things. And I don't know, this is being already recorded. So let's see if this is like something that's workable. I'm not going to edit either way. So
Yeah,
let's give it to the
that's
people. But okay,
good.
tell us, like, let's just then do it formally while we catch up. All right. So,
Yes.
what's up, everybody? Kristen Gutierrez here. I am so honored to host my friend, Trina Schmidt, on a live today just to catch up because we haven't seen each other in a while. She's iterated her offers and her business, and we get to see each other in person in like just a few weeks. So, I know, like 6 days. But who's counting? But anyway, I help other entrepreneurs with high ticket offers without dying in implementation like I once did. And I'm known as the girl who says yes and figures it out and leverage my 20-year sales background to help entrepreneurs who are not from sales and have just found themselves in a sales job. But enough about me. What's up, Trina? Who are you?
Hi,
And we'll
Kristen.
catch up.
Oh, it's so great to see you. And Kristen, you were my inspiration from day one, stepping into anything like sales related, this online marketing space of high ticket offers and bold action and doing it messy and all of that was like, what? What? I moved to a different country, but this was like moving to a new country. And I saw you take all these like bold action steps, and I'm like, that's not normal. That's that's to be honest, my first reaction. Like that's either it's superhuman, wanna be all that, no judgment. And part of me was like terrified that that's what I had to go through to get to the other side, really. I mean, talk about resistance and talk about like going through internal upgrades.
Mm.
So that is really how this whole space started. And, I can't talk enough about Kristen and about this. She may not know it fully herself because she's kind of, influencing her presence without us giving feedback to it. But I always love verbalizing things. I'm the talk about it stuff, the talk about it queen. So, and that is really the celebrations and the compliments and really the feedback of how well people do and how they make an impact on others. I think that that is the biggest thing, and the biggest thing that I offer people in my space is that direct feedback on your growth and your direct feedback on how do you impact others and how did you impact your own life. But I mean, this is not a session with you, but I just wanted to influence that. So the bold action really you normalized it and made it a possibility and you visualized it and modeled it for other people. And I don't know if it's just me watching Kristen, but it was like it was a new language for me because I was like the chronic contemplator in my life. I was like weighing stuff and analyzing it because I'm a psychotherapist and I'm a mental coach, and you kind of have to you have to feel your feelings and really think about things. And I mean, that's how I was trained and the people in my life, how they modeled it. And sure, there's time for that. Little time for contemplation for sure. But moving through it is really through action, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
even
come, I've come a far way.
you're like a totally different person. And
Yeah.
I love just even, probably then the growth we experience when we articulate the thing behind the thing of the thing we just did. So, I mean, I appreciate the compliments. I'm just really, I think, um, somewhere about 4 months ago, I don't really know, had been exchanging some voice memos on WhatsApp, but also you just like emerged.
Yeah.
I don't know the right adjectives because I wasn't really prepped to share, but like confidence is what first
Yeah.
and foremost comes to mind. Where like I might not meet you, like what I see of you saying about you, like I might not have it all figured out, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like you were almost like at peace with that all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, talk about manifestation, right? And this is really, there's so many layers to it, but let's start with manifestation. When I want to enforce new changes in my life and I want to stretch, there's a preparation phase I go into because there is a set expectation that sure, bold action definitely gets you outside of your comfort zone, but sometimes when you step too far outside of your comfort zone, there's kind of like a lashback. The consequences might pile up too hard and we get burned, burned in relationships. We get burned with the actions that we've done because we're not really prepared how to handle things. So I like to do a lot of visualization and preparing myself mentally to a change that I want to take on. Not too long in the contemplation, but allowing yourself enough. That's outside of my comfort zone to even allow myself to step into a space that I haven't been in before, at least in my head first. So I think after seeing you for several months, and I'm using you again because you have really been kind of the example of like I'm gonna pull a Kristen now, okay? Like I have upgraded myself for like 3 or 4 months. I've kind of done everything in my head that people can't see, right? Look, all this great stuff I'm doing, but it's all in my head still, right? So I'm like, okay, so I guess I have to get louder and I have to get myself out there. And the only person that I knew had done that in this way, again, was from you. I remember it in May. And you just did it continuously. So I'm like, I'm pulling a Kristen. So I forced myself just to go on there and get comfortable in it and doing it messy and not worrying so much about outcome and started working with Jackie and have, yeah, I know, she is just the bomb. Having powerful females as mentors and as friends and in a community that can kind of normalize these
Mm,
actions and how we speak and how we show up and make that your second nature is really what's made the big shift for me. And it's so much easier to take action in that space.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
now I am manifesting and creating the space that I want. And I appreciate you saying I'm out there. I was like, yes, I'm getting feedback. I guess I'm trying
Well, I
to,
think that's even how this came to be.
I'm
Because
sorry.
like I think that you being out there is even how we agreed to just like catch up on a live because
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Like, hey, let's do a live. Let's do catch up. Let's have tea
catch
at the
up,
same
yeah,
time.
record it at the same time. I am
Yeah.
so glad we are because this is the stuff that normally actually happens behind the wall. Like closed
Mm.
door room with your little with not little minimizing, like with our group,
Yeah.
right? Men and women or women only, whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
where we're dreaming and visioning and
Yeah.
getting help and all these crazy breakthrough concepts and thought processes and even the struggle that you were sharing. I mean, I'm tapping my chest. This is what I was writing down when you were like talking, like the struggle that you are articulating, most people are there.
Yeah.
And whether you're me coaching others or you coaching others, what people say to me all the time now is because I finally figured out how to monetize my sales to help entrepreneurs. I knew how to help businesses monetize, like with sales consulting, but it took me like 9 months to figure out how be a better sales leader like applies to entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And Eileen had to tell me that it did. and she hadn't even read the book. It was like people have to say things to you and you have to be willing to receive the information to be like, oh, but then the thing that everyone says to me is, I'm not a salesperson. I don't have 20 years sales experience. So when I share my story with those I'm helping, it's to let them feel safe that
Mm,
I've spent 20 years learning this and had to unlearn. Selling to a budget, corporate budget is not the same as selling to individuals. And so also had to relearn strategy. So like, you know what I'm saying this way? Like it is about you. It's like the struggle you're sharing. And now the breakthrough butterfly moment is like
yeah.
resonates.
Yes. I love that. And I teach my clients to be comfortable in their emotions and identify, triggers and how we self-regulate and how do we ask for what we need and how do we identify what we need
Yes.
and to really create healthy relationships and meaningful relationships and be the leader in our lives and have the transformation that changed generations, right? We want that impact. We want to make things better. But how do we do that? And it's been a very humbling experience for me personally because I have done so much on personal growth and my relationships and understanding who I am. And I don't have problems like showing up on camera or having my pictures taken or, I mean, I'm not professional. I've not have done it professionally, but it's like I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
But stepping into a new arena like this really kind of put
Oh no, we
because
lost her.
I had to see
Hold on.
myself in a completely different.
Wait, we
No,
lost you.
I
Hold
had
on.
to see
Wait.
myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to see myself in a completely different light and kind of mend some of those holes again because I had to try myself on new levels,
Mhm.
and it's really uncomfortable. And you can kind of see how the people that we guide through this space, right? The stretching that happens, and what happens as a result of this stretching. Because I kind of compare it to a rubber band, right? So we live in we want status quo, right? Our ego loves safety and the way things are and staying within our comfort zone. When we start stretching a little bit, the elastic band gets stretched, and our system, the people in our lives, they are either going to have to stretch with us
Oh.
or things happen. It will somehow burst, right? And change has consequences. It's not just, oh, change is great. Most times change has amazing benefits. It ripple effects. I mean, we're a better person, we're a better parent, we're a better friend. But how many of us has lost friends along the way?
Mhm. Right.
Relationships,
Hello.
marriage, like,
More than one.
but, and it's like it's not because of the change. I also believe as we grow, our relationships they transform.
Mm.
However, there's a skill set that goes with that. So let me ask you this. How many people do you help that goes through this stretching, right? Now they're implementing high ticket offers and they're stepping into a new space. What do you see the consequences be
Mm.
in their lives that may not be as positive at times, particularly in their immediate support?
Yeah. Well, right. It's what Russell Brunson talks about, your internal objections and external objections and the vehicle-based objections. But I was just talking to my friend this morning, and like my real life friend, who may or may not want me to actually coach her. But the reality is, right, we all have internal doubt that sometimes or for a long time we can put it aside, but there's always down in order to go back up. Sometimes it's one step forward, 10 steps, one step back, 10 steps forward. Other times it's just a bad day, a bad season. We're going through things, right? And then so that's internal. We could talk about that. But then externally too, I mean, I always say because well, in general was divorced from my kid's dad, but it wasn't because in my lucky case, like he didn't support all of my he would like another program, Kristen. But he never, I mean, I do share this actually publicly that I blew $50,000, and I wish I was exaggerating, on an Amazon store that got shut down, and I lost all of my money. Somebody say not smart. And I never got harassed by him for it or chastised or lashed out about. It was like, okay, well, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
But that's not most people's situation. And so the reality is, as we stretch, I love this rubber band analogy. I think like people, naysayers that know us, like us, trust us, or who don't, they don't want to see us grow. They don't want to hear these stories. Who does she think she is that had $50,000 to blow on this Amazon store thing? Like, and then why would she even talk about it? Like, who is she trying to impress? Always going to have naysayers in our lives. And so, like, is this coaching that you help with? Because also, have you read Mel Robbins' Let Them theory now? Like,
No, I saw her book. I actually posted it somewhere because, oh, well, what she was saying something about it.
it's so good.
Yes.
It's so good.
Okay, yeah, I need, it's
Yeah.
on my list. I think I put it on my my wish
Well,
list on it needs to go high up.
I binged it, listened to
Yeah.
it from Long Beach to Nashville. And not
Oh, no.
all of it, but I listened to chapter 5 twice. And I was just telling my friend that this morning. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I even, Mel Robbins,
Yeah.
I tagged her in a post and she commented on it.
Wow.
What? Okay,
What?
tell us. Truly, like honestly, like
Yeah.
tell us how you help people. And
Yeah.
is
No,
this part of your
absolutely. So
evolution?
um at this point, I really honor women stepping into the space of manifesting new levels of their life, right? New business, I want to be more, I want to be better. And I'm recognizing that there's this gap between I'm clear on what I want, I know where I want to go, I can see it, I can taste it, and I feel it. And then you step into it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I am all alone. I don't know what I'm doing. And there's like nobody to like kind of catch you there.
Yeah.
Unless you're in, Kristen's coaching program and, and enveloped in some kind of program, I mean, seriously, with a community that can maybe set some realistic expectation. But what I find a lot of times is stuff will start happening around you, right?
Mhm.
The relationships might be supportive, but you are a different person.
Yes.
And how are you going to be able to ask for the support that you need now at this level? How are you going to be able to communicate this with your children? How are you going to be able to set yourself free of that guilt of you stretching into that new person when part of you are like not really believing that you can do it, right? And the other part of you can't really let go of the old version of yourself. So, how do we navigate that? And we're
Yeah.
not just talking about the resistance from others, right? Because now it's directly mirrored in that parts of ourselves. You're talking about the internal objections. So, we have this mirror going on in our relationships from the outside, directly linked to the parts inside of us. And this is where I'm really good at helping people integrate those parts of ourselves. How can we, with love and compassion and kindness, integrate those screaming parts of us that will surface, like we're now in our 40s and there are a lot of transitioning happening in 40s, 50s, 60s of revisiting areas of our lives, and this parts are going to start screaming at us and need attention, and it's going to play out in our lives. And especially at this stretching phase, we just need to help integrate that. So I do that. Um, I use theta healing. I use a deeper method of really helping integrate that, but also help navigate outwardly the external objections of how do I present myself in the world now? How do I communicate with the loved ones around me? How do I set boundaries? And this is not setting boundaries like, here's my boundary. I don't like boundaries that way, but I like talking about boundaries in a way of self respect.
Mhm.
I honor and respect myself enough to have this standard, and our standards change.
Mhm.
This is why I
Yeah.
believe a lot of times we end up getting a divorce or leaving some of those friends behind because we're racing those standards, and all of a sudden we're not a best fit with other people anymore. We
Mhm.
evolve, we transgress into new communities and new supported ways. Some people come with us and some people don't. And how do we have enough empathy and understanding and compassion for ourselves through that process so we can continue the momentum, continue the fast growing, and
Mhm.
still feel totally aligned
Mhm.
with who we are?
Oh my gosh, I'm having so many ideas for you and me to collaborate, but I freaking love this. Like Trina is dropping it like it's hot. So give her some fire emojis and love in the chat. Oh my gosh. Because you're talking and I just love your accent and just the calmness of how you speak and articulate, but I'm like thinking of this thing as it relates to myself. I'm thinking of this thing as it relates to my client or as my friend and it's so true. It's so true. In the interim, how do people connect with you? How do
Yes.
people find you? What's that?
Yeah, so I have an upcoming masterclass on Monday and Tuesday from 12 to 2 Eastern Standard. I have a free masterclass and people party starting on Friday, where we're going to start opening discussion of this space where people get stuck and how I can help people navigate that space of dealing with other people in our lives so we can build, boldness and boundaries and balance. We all want balance in our lives.
Boldness, boundaries, and balance.
Yeah. Boom. Be that. Triple B's.
Is that
Yeah.
intentional? That's intentional. I love that.
It is. Yeah. So we don't speak about this enough. And maybe I'm just in the world of, in Mel Robbins, I mean, she speaks this, and I love these women that are out speaking about this because sometimes it is either we speak career or we speak family,
Oh,
right? And
yes.
when we speak family, we speak mom or we speak spouse or we speak and but what about us as people, and how do we navigate us as people in the career back and forth, being in the same alignment and can create enough momentum on both sides?
Yeah.
How do we do that? I mean, we don't, we don't speak about that. And I'm a relationship coach. I have thought about relationship my whole life. I was just very inspired and observant of all relationships. I love analyzing it. I love seeing what love can do with people, where people's focus are, how they choose their words. It's just so important. I mean, there's research about how to lead with love and things that you can do with the people that you love on staying focused in love and not getting into conflict. But that's a completely different conversation.
That's a
So
whole different thing. Yeah. But also, like when I was at the Tony Robbins conference in 2014, that's the first time in my life I realized love followed shortly by compassion, but he had like these seven things, and like love is the number one human need, and how we should be like it was. I can't articulate what he was saying or sharing, but I reference that a lot, this Tony Robbins, like the UPW event, and it was like this concept of love.
yes.
I don't think enough people know about that, and I think everybody like you should be out there teaching it because even Mother Teresa, right?
I totally agree. Everybody deserves to feel just so loved and so
Mm.
seen and so valued. If I could just sell that on bottles of the cultivation of that and how you can get to the depth of that, but by by simple words, by simple concepts. I mean, there's so many ways that I teach this. And one thing that came to mind, Kristen, I really want to share with you because it's my mentor shared this story with me.
And we'll wrap up with
Because
this.
absolutely. So in systems theory or kind of family theory and how we all are interconnected and how certain change don't happen by just fixing money with money. Okay, that there's usually, if there's a money problem, there can be other things. Am I frozen again?
No, I think no, it's my Zoom. Keep going.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think that even and the way we're recording, I think it's fine. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
I know.
um
I'm like,
so if we can't always fix money with money. It's not like apples to apples when we talk about affecting change. So my mentor walked into a class with this painting that his wife had painted, and it was these buildings and these bushes and trees in the front. And when she was creating it, he came to her and she wanted feedback on it. It's like, what do you think? And he's like, well, it kind of looks like something is missing up here by, the buildings or the sky and stuff like that. And she's like, okay. And she walked back and she, fixed something. She came back. She said, what do you think now? And he's like, oh, wow, that changed the perspective. What did you do? And she's like, oh, I added a bush down here. So you never knew that by implementing that little change down here that seems so irrelevant,
yeah.
that changed your whole picture. I mean, it's like squeezing the toothpaste on one end and it comes out and I mean, isn't that amazing? you don't look down the tube and be like, where did it go, right? You know to squeeze on the other end. And that's really about relationships is you have to learn what end to squeeze in to foster these healthy relationships to continue that momentum. So thank you for
Oh,
sharing. Let me sharing that.
my gosh. You are amazing. I cannot wait to see you very, very, very
I
soon.
know. I know.
So
That's
excited.
gonna be fun.
Staying for
So
the extended or just for the initial?
I'm sorry.
Are you staying for the extended thing?
No, no, just the initial. I got family, I got my parents here. Yeah, I gotta
I know,
get
I'm going to
back
be
to
there
life
for eight
again.
days. People are like, you're taking up a residency.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a lot of momentum right there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
that's
that.
going to be kind of crazy.
Yes, that's
But
gonna be great.
okay, drop your links below so that we
I
can get
will.
them. And thank you so, so much for catching up with me and doing it live, being so vulnerable, sharing your story. Oh my gosh.
I love this.
I know.
We'll
I
see you
love you.
soon. Yay.
See you.